Namaste, everybody. Lisa Aramano here, the Breakthrough Life Coach. Thank you so much for stopping by. And today I want to discuss marriage and basically relationships and why I think a lot of marriages end up failing. And I have coined the term the boardroom marriage. And if you have a boardroom marriage or a boardroom relationship, then chances are that it is not a very healthy relationship, it's not a very vibrant relationship, and it's not a relationship that's full of joy. And I think that this video might be very enlightening. So I want you to imagine that you are sitting in a boardroom and the company that you work for has a presenter come, and the presenter is basically just shooting off statistics. How involved are you in this company's benefit, or how involved are you even in this boardroom discussion with a speaker that comes in and just talking about statistics, right? Absolutely no passion, absolutely no drive. Everything's about profits, everything's about money. Bottom line, how much money did we make? What did we succeed at? What did we fail at? And everything is about the bottom dollar or numbers, right? Now think about being inside a boardroom of a company whose mission statement is clear, whose agenda is to help change the world in a significant way, whose agenda is to impact families, whose agenda it is to improve the quality of people's lives all across not only America, but the world. Think about how you would feel inside that boardroom, right? Now, the difference between the two boardrooms is, we might say, well, one is purely profit driven and one is passion driven, and that would be true. But I think below that, what I think is really going on is that one boardroom answers a really great question, and that is, why am I here, right? And when you know why you are somewhere, then your brain, your body, your soul, everything about you can get behind that movement. It can get behind that cause. But when you don't know why you are somewhere, and it becomes not really clear as to why you are somewhere except for statistics, right? And there's no passion behind it, and there's no real purpose that you can connect to, no deep cause within you that you can feel absolutely inspired by, then over time you're in a boardroom and you're pretty bored. And I think the same thing happens with marriage. Now, historically, if you think back to like the 1600s and the 1700s, women and men got together because the why was, we need to keep this family together. Life is hard. We have a farm. We need healthy children to help us tend this farm. So we even knew why we had children. We knew why we stayed home and mopped the floors and cleaned the pots and made the beds, because we had men that were going out and they were protecting us. They were helping to make sure that we were safe and that our livestock was safe and that our children were safe, right? So, if you think back to the families of the 1600s and the 1700s and the 1800s, there was this need to protect the family and to keep it safe. So we knew why men were married. We knew why women were married. We knew why. And we can get behind that because it made sense. It helped give us purpose. We had a family to protect and to care for. But I think what's happened is, as we move into this very quick-paced technological space in life with the internet and with smartphones and massive high-speed ability to connect with people, I think what's happening is we're losing the humanity. We're losing the humanness. We have friendships that exist on Facebook without face-to-face interaction. We have friendships and relationships that we conduct over Twitter. We check in on our friends on Twitter or on Instagram. Hey, did you see what so-and-so is doing? Yeah, I saw the picture on Instagram. Really? That is not human connection. And I think what happens when it comes to marriage, when our marriages are based on statistics, or our marriages really don't understand why I am here, ultimately they will become a boardroom marriage. Both people would be bored. If a man doesn't know why he's coming home to his wife or his girlfriend or his lover or whoever, heterosexual, homosexual, whatever, then eventually this man, this human being, will find no reason to be there. If a woman doesn't know why she's in a relationship, if we as people, right, male or female, if we don't know why we are in a relationship, And we make the mistake of thinking that we don't need passion and we don't need purpose and we don't need to connect. The marriage will eventually fall apart. When we have marriages that are very connected and people are able to understand that they are with each other for a reason, that marriage will last. But I think what happens, and I think that we have to really wake up, right? And we have to understand that marriages do not last because we have a house. They do not last because we have 2 cars. They do not last because we have children. Those days are over. In order for marriages to last, people have to feel connected. And so, very oftentimes, I'll coach a female and she'll say, my husband thinks we should get married because he has a job and I have a job and our kids are healthy and I don't have a right to want anything else, right? There's absolutely no reason, no purpose to be together. Women are making more and more money. They're able to make decisions in a way that they couldn't 100 years ago. And so that reason has been eliminated. So marriages that are based very oftentimes, it used to be where marriages are based on a need to survive. And the years that we're living in now, so many women are making their own money. They're making their own way and they're becoming empowered. So we have to keep up with this, evolutionary pattern that we're on. And we've got to be mindful. We've got to see the big picture. We've got to understand what's happening. My own father, my own ex-husband, my own brother has said to me, what more could you want? You have 3 children, they're healthy, you have a business, you have a house, like you go on vacation. What's wrong with the women today in America that they could think that they're supposed to have more? And I think it all goes back to basically being a human being. We come here to connect. We come here connected to our mothers through the umbilical cord. We are born with mirror neurons. I say this over and over and over in my 12-week class and my master class in the coaching programs that I do. When I coach someone one-to-one, we come here to connect, right? But as we move forward, and so many of our basic needs are being met, more and more and more and more and more, we as couples, people who choose to be in relationships with another person, have to begin valuing the need to connect. Because without the need for safety, without the need for a man to go out and make money, for instance, in that situation, with women making their own money, with women becoming more empowered, let's say, with the genders being able to make their own way in society, the reason to couple has to be very, very strong. That's why I do not believe boardroom marriages will survive. And if you're someone who thinks that, well, just because, we have a healthy checking account, we have a thriving business and no one's sick, right? We should stay married. I think you're really being very short-sighted. Because for us to stay married and for us to work for a company, let's say, that we want to give our blood, sweat, and tears to, for us to want to stick with a company and be loyal to that company should excite us. There should be passion and purpose behind that, right? Our entire brain should be activated when we're thinking about being involved in this company. We have to know why this company does what it does. We have to know why we work long hours. If you volunteer, you know why, right? If you're somebody who volunteers at a shelter for animals, you know why. You can get behind that cause. You don't even want to be paid for it, right? So this shelter has you for life, for as long as you live. And if this is the kind of marriage and relationship you want to be experiencing, then you have to know why you're in it. And your partner has to know why you're in it. And if you're not having that discussion, I suggest that you do. Because there's no reason why we can't get out ahead of this. There's no reason why we can't sit down and at least have a conversation about why we're together. Know what, if you're going to get divorced, know why you're going to get divorced. And I'll tell you what, in order to save a marriage, you have to know why you're saving it. Because it takes a lot of passion and a lot of strength and a lot of tenacity and a lot of patience to be able to save a marriage that may have been unhealthy for a very long time. And I'll tell you what, it takes just as much passion and just as much drive to get a divorce. I can tell you that the only reason I survived my divorce, and it was effing hell. It was hell, emotionally hell. My ex-husband was very, very angry. His family was angry. My family was angry. Everybody was so upset that I was upsetting the apple cart. Nobody understood that I was dying in the relationship. My relationship was toxic. My ex-husband refused to look at it, and he was a board member, right? He was very, very happy living with the boardroom marriage where you do your thing, I'll do my thing. I come home at night, we eat together, we watch a little bit of TV, and we go to bed. There was no passion and there was no purpose. There was no why am I married to you? Why am I married to you? For me to stay, I have to know why I'm married to you. There was none of that. And he would look at me like, with a glossed over look in his face, like I was crazy, right? But to even move forward, when he told me he wasn't going to change, I knew that I had to move forward. And to do that as a single mom without a college education, I quit college. For me to do that knowing that my mother and father were basically like, you're out, kid. We think you're nuts. To do that knowing that I lost my in-laws completely. To do that, I lost so many friends, so many neighbors, lost all those friends, as a matter of fact, without a job, with very little child support. And just to get out of the marriage, it took me over 4 years to get divorced. I agreed to not get alimony. I got no health insurance, right? So it was very, very difficult. And for me to be able to survive that, the only reason I survived that was because I knew the why. I knew why I was getting divorced. I knew why I was doing what I was doing. I knew what I had to do and why I had to do it. And for me, if you've read my books, The Road Back to Me and The Road Back to Me and My Road Beyond the Codependent Divorce, the why was very clearly defined. I was unconscious. I was codependent. I had been born into a very dark, disorganized, chaotic family system. And I realized that I was married and repeating the same patterns that my mother had lived with her whole life and my grandparents had lived with. My mother acquiesced to my dad. My dad ruled the roost. She never questioned him. She feared what everybody else thought about her. My mom lived in fear, even though if she were alive, she would tell you that's not the truth. She lived in fear of my father. I lived in fear of rocking the boat just like my mom. Even though I had a big mouth, I was not leaving. And even though my mom might have thought about leaving, she never did. So here I was just continuing this pattern of codependency, looking for validation, living below the veil of consciousness, very angry and just feeling stuck. And then when I woke up and I realized, oh my God, I had done the same thing to my children. And I knew that if I didn't find a way out, if I didn't learn how to love myself, more than what I thought everybody else thought about me, I was programming my children to do the same. And that terrified me because I love my children so much. And I also knew I had lost 2 women that were very close to me, 2 young moms. I knew there was always a possibility that my life could be taken away from me. And these 3 beautiful kids would be on their own. And I had done them a disservice. I had taught them how to complain. I had taught them how to cry. I had taught them how to beg. I had taught them how to people please. I had taught them how not to rock the boat. I had taught them how to just really feel stuck and spin their wheels and get sick, just like what was happening to me. So my why for moving forward and getting divorced was very, very clear because I loved my children, because I knew that I was conditioning them to be codependent the way I was. And I knew that I wasn't going to live forever. And I was terrified that my children didn't have a pattern or a program for how to love themselves and how to take action steps to enforce boundaries and to create boundaries with people. I hadn't taught my children how to keep their vibrations high so that they can attract people into their life that actually could see them and validate them and love them. My why was very, very clear. And so that gave me the courage every day to get up and to move forward and to face another daunting day. To face everything that I had to face, working 3 jobs, working 7 days a week. It was crazy. It was crazy what my children and I had to go through. But I did it, and I landed on my feet, and I'm here today talking to you amazing, beautiful people because I understood the why. I want to help people wake up. There's no reason for why people have to live in the darkness anymore. We can wake up. We can live above the veil of consciousness. We can learn to love ourselves in spite of being raised by alcoholic parents and narcissistic parents and abusive others. We can raise our consciousness. We can shift this planet. We can teach our children to love themselves and to set boundaries and live amazing lives. We can accept when other people come at us. We can. We don't have to go down the rabbit hole when somebody starts talking, smack about us. We don't have to get reactive when somebody accuses us of something that we know that we're not guilty of. We don't have to go down the rabbit hole when someone's perception of us changes for some reason and they begin to project their unease with themselves onto us. We don't have to live in reactive mode anymore. And so if you are somebody who is in a boardroom marriage, what I mean by that, if you're bored, that's because you don't know why you're there. And if you want to start changing things, maybe it's time you ask yourself why you're there. And maybe it's time you maybe show your spouse or your partner this video. And maybe you can have a conversation about why we're here. And make no mistake, if you are married because of X, Y, and Z, and because you have insurance benefits, or because it's just easier to be married, that is not going to give you enough passion and energy to sustain your marriage or your relationship long term. So try to figure out why you're married. Figure out why you're in this relationship. And if you don't know why, then do what you can to come up with legitimate reasons for why you stay. And if not, perhaps have conversations about why perhaps it's best you let it go. Thank you so much for being here. Life is not easy. Life can be extremely difficult, especially if you've been raised by alcoholics or a narcissistic parent, especially if you've been raised to believe that you're not good enough. Very oftentimes when you believe that, you settle for what shows up. Even if what shows up you don't want. You just settle for it, You lie to yourself and you lie to other people, and everybody does it, but they don't have to. So the key is self-awareness and humility. And also, in terms, if you're a truth seeker, you have to know why. And in my opinion, the why is because you want to be set free. You want to live out loud. You want to take what's been placed upon your heart and live it. You want to have true connections with people who can actually see you. You want passion and you want purpose in your life. And that's a good enough reason to stay on the enlightenment path and the path to personal development and self-discovery. So thank you so much for being here. Just a quick let you guys know that I do run coaching programs. I have 2 coaching programs that will be launching very soon, and I'll leave some more information down in the description box. And I do what I do because I want to inspire people to wake up and bring order into their life. I want them to know that it's not them, it's just their programming, and that they can awaken and live amazing, amazing lives. So make it a great day, dear one. Think about this video, figure out why, and just love yourself. Just love yourself and fill your life with passion and purpose, and everything will be okay. Namaste. And I bow to the love and the light that is absolutely in you. Bye for now.